Hey, before we get started, EiEi Podcast is now available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and Stitcher. Make sure to check the links below if you're interested. And now, on to the episode. Hello, and welcome to the EiEi Podcast. This is episode 15, and we have a new guest, Goober, and a returning guest, Daro. So,
That's me.
Indeed. Today's episode will be about Monkey Ball 1, and we'll kind of be going through each game gradually and doing kind of like a deep dive into them like we did with Adventure. So I'm Kardino, and EiEi's Funhouse was the peak of the series, so that's what I have to say.
I'm Ninjastar Compass. I'm the #1 PS5 Monkey Boat player in Banana Mania. So obviously I know what I'm talking about when it comes to Monkey Ball 1.
Obviously.
Hi, I'm Super Monkey Tweets. I tweet about Monkey Ball until one day when Twitter stops working. I don't know when that'll be, but until then.
And then your entire existence will have no purpose.
Yeah, my life will
ether.
have no meaning.
You'll just fade into the ether.
Or you become the Super Monkey Universe.
Hello, I'm Goober, or Jess, or whatever username you want to use. My greatest achievement in this series is being mentioned in a Polygon article for doing a speedrun of Monkey Ball on the N gauge.
Oh, you also got like number 7 about top 10 Monkey Ball YouTubers.
Oh,
remember?
that AI generated website. I was number 10, I think, actually. Behind like
really
Nintendo of America.
It really is a lonely destiny we share. I was like in the SMB2 list, so you know we all know what we're talking about, you know.
And I'm Daro.
Great. So we have a rough outline here, and by outline I mean I opened Notepad 5 minutes before and typed in some ideas. So first thing we'll talk about is I guess, you know, did you guys know that Monkey Ball was actually an arcade ported to GameCube? I bet you guys didn't know that.
Unprecedented.
No
Have you ever
way.
heard? You might also not know this. You know what Super Monkey? I'm not. Goddamn it! I was gonna say Super Monkey Ball 2 used to be Doki Doki Panic. By the way.
Yeah, there used to be this cool game called Doki Doki Literature Club.
That's really what happened with Banana Crazy. Is it turned into Doki Doki Literature Club.
Let's see.
It was a very long and confusing path of development.
Yeah, the arcade game.
Yeah, arcade game. So obviously a lot of the stage designs and whatnot came from the arcade game. Obviously the controls. I don't know, I don't think anyone here has actually played the arcade, have they?
Oh, they're different controls.
Yeah, like I may have played it in a completely legal way, and the controls are certainly something.
The way it works is that in arcade, the fastest forward movement is straight up on the joystick, while in the GameCube games, diagonals are faster.
Is it really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that, actually. I've played arcade on emulator, and I thought it felt fine. But I've never tried it on actual hardware. I do own a control panel, actually, so I've touched the banana. I just don't have a Naomi or a Naomi 2, so
That's good.
never been able to play it.
The thing with me is, at least maybe I just set up the emulator wrong, which is not surprising because that emulator is not very good. But it only detected like 8 directions for me on my stick, and I don't know why. I was using a GameCube controller, so.
I remember it being annoying. I remember I was first playing with an Xbox controller, and for whatever reason it would only let me map the right thumbstick. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll play with the right one then.
That's funny.
But then I figured out how to get it to work with the left one, but getting it to work with the GameCube controller was like a whole other issue. I can't even remember how I figured it out, but I think I spent more time messing about in settings than I actually did playing the game. So.
Yep.
That sounds about right.
Yup,
yeah,
Ninja
when
still
it
has yet to get it to work.
Yeah. I will say the biggest downgrade from arcade, the GameCube, was the lack of the banana joystick. That is unforgivable.
That would be a very interesting experience. I don't know. Daro, is the control as tight as you say as on the GameCube, or is it just?
I mean, I also played it on my PC computer, so it's very similar. It's just as, like I said, going forward is your top speed, so diagonals kind of make you go real slow, meaning that like swing bar long and mixer are both horrible nightmares on arcade.
Ah, great. As if Mixer wasn't bad enough.
Microsoft will pay.
One day it will return in spirit.
That's interesting. Do you know that, like, having looked through the actual code, or?
I just have a feel, because
Well,
the
it's
fastest
possible.
time-
I think that you have your controller calibrated incorrectly. Like, you might have accidentally set a circle dead zone or something.
Who knows?
Because
I
it
do
didn't
notice
feel
that
like
it's
this for me
different.
when I played it on emulator at all. Like, Mixer had the exact same trick. Everything just kind of felt like Monkey Ball 1. I will note, though, the fastest time I could get on Beginner 1 was a .35, whereas in Monkey Ball 1, the fastest you could get is a 33. So there's that.
That's interesting.
But it's only possible if you frame boost at the beginning, which does suggest that, you know, diagonals are stronger inputs.
Yes.
No, I blame the emulator, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
I-
Yeah,
I-
it's impossible to tell unless you've actually got experience with the actual hardware, but
Yeah.
I guess the only solution is for SEGA to re-release the arcade game.
I do want some.
Uh-oh. The day an Arcade
much-
1-Up remake comes out is the day that my
I'd buy
wallet
that day
goes
one.
bye-bye.
To be honest.
Oh, they could literally like not change anything and like charge like $20. I'd still buy it.
I want them
Wish
to keep
they'd
the
done that
transition.
No,
was
but it's
a,
Arcade 1-Up, so it's gonna be like $500. It's like,
It
great,
doesn't
this
even have
is...
a banana joystick, so what's the point?
I guess next thing on the list is difficulty and progression. So how we feel about that in SMB1?
The difficulty progression is what I like to call, there's a mountain range here, and it is a very big mountain range, with very big peaks and very big dips.
It's very like spotty, because for the most part I feel like it's pretty fair. They just throw in a couple stages in there just, you know, to get quarters out of people. But like literally besides like stuff like Expert 7, it's usually pretty fair. Like it does progressively get slightly harder.
Yeah.
Except for like Expert, where it gets slightly easier to the end.
Expert's very funny, because it starts off as like a complete nightmare, and then for like the rest of the difficulty, it's all just like a breeze.
It is interesting because I just feel like, SMB2, I know we'll get to that another time, but like it has a lot more obvious problems with like its stage design and whatnot. I feel like SMB1 doesn't have as many like obvious pitfalls in where, it's stage design, but Expert 7 is infamous for a reason. I think there are some stages just like Mixer that are just like why.
Yeah.
Wait, are we saying why isn't it incredibly hard or incredibly easy? Because
I think
incredibly
Mixer's a good
easy.
flaw. I think it's good because it teaches the player that diagonal inputs are stronger, so they're kind of learning how the game works.
Except I've tried it with diagonals and it doesn't work for me for some reason. Like the only way I've been able to do it was like with a frame, and I don't get why.
That stage for me is always just very specific timing. Like it's, in Monkey Ball 1, like on the second one, I feel like you have to be very precise in when you actually go for it.
I
As
think it's
opposed to,
pretty
like-
lenient.
I don't know, I'm used to it in Deluxe, where it's like basically the easiest stage. in the
Yeah,
game.
Yeah.
in Monkey Ball 2
Yeah.
version, it's just free.
But in 1, it definitely requires a bit of nuance to it. But generally, I'm fine with it now. But when I first started playing Monkey Ball 1, it was a bit of a nightmare.
Or how about that stage, those just steps, you know, also in the storm area.
God.
It's just like,
That's
yeah,
my
here's
favorite
stairs.
I think that's the
Favorite
worst
filler
flaw
level.
in the game, and I think Amusement Vision were well aware of this. I think they were well aware of what the worst flaws are because you could skip all of them with warp goals.
Hell yeah, except for
Like
X7.
E43, E47. I mean, E44 is okay. I can't remember the deluxe stage. Bridge or
E43
something.
It's cool.
E43 is just like the you know, the reverse half pipe or whatever with like the green strips on it, right? Because that one isn't bad.
43 is carpet.
E43, yeah, carpet.
Carpet. Hold on, let me
That's
desperately
the
look
one with
this
the
up.
really slow-moving platforms that move back and forth.
Yeah,
basically.
44 is the one you're thinking
Oh,
of.
okay,
I think.
yeah.
Carpet's not that bad. It's just incredibly boring.
It's just slow, but even then you can make it go by really fast.
I say it's kind of
Use the sticks.
garbage because of the camera. You can't look down or to the side at all, so you just kind of have to judge if you're going to die or not.
Well, you're supposed to use the mini map card, man. That's why it's there.
Well, yeah, but still, that is one thing. Camera control should be a thing. That is one thing I will say that Banana Mania as a remake did well, is the camera control. Going back to SMB1.
I completely disagree with that, but okay.
Really?
Well, it's like they couldn't get the camera control right, so they added in a manual camera. Because like, I don't know, we can't do it. And it's like the first 2 games, or the first 3 games, whatever, didn't need it. I think the camera's completely fine.
I like it's obviously an obstacle, but I always thought it was fine in Monkey Ball 1 and 2. I never had like.
Yeah.
I was never
Like,
like
you can
"Man, this
manipulate
sucks." Let's
it.
go.
You can figure out how to
I-
manipulate it. It's okay.
Yeah, it's a matter of like just doing a bunch of micro inputs to like turn around. Like it's just a matter of knowing how to do it. But
Like the
obviously-
way that it was
Yeah.
dealt with in Banana Mania just seems like a result of incompetence and laziness.
I would argue it's worse than Banana Mania, but I don't really want to get into that. It's not really
I would say the
relevant, but-
camera by default is worse than Banana Mania, but I've been asking for a custom camera since like I first played SMB1. It's like, this would be so good if, you know, we had a perfectly good C-stick that we could use as a camera, you know.
I don't know. My problem with Banana Mania is that your camera settings affect like your turning speed. It just makes it like god awful unless you have it at a low setting. But if you have it at a low setting, then your camera's unusable. So it's kind of screwed.
I mean, it's so unintuitive coming from playing the original games because it's like the micro adjustments that you use to manipulate the camera don't move the camera at all. So like you're kind of just forced to use the manual camera. It
Yeah.
really annoys me. I mean, I could talk badly about Banana Mania for
Yeah. I can too, but unfortunately this is the Monkey Ball 1
I have no
podcast.
hate
Yeah.
in my heart, except for one thing that we'll get to later.
Fair.
I don't
As
know.
far as difficulty goes, I don't know. I've always felt like it was fine for the most part. I never had like obviously except for Expert 7, I feel like it's fine.
I think an interesting thing about the game's difficulty is also the unchanging starting lives.
Oh yeah.
That's something
You're definitely
interesting.
forced to like get good.
That's one of my favorite things about Monkey Ball 1 is that I think they made it hard without it being daft or annoying.
It
Gosh.
feels like it was definitely designed with the low amount of lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what I find fun about it is the challenge. Like unlocking mastery in Monkey Ball 1 is something that not a lot of players can say they've done. Like there's a good sense of accomplishment in doing that. Whereas in Monkey Ball 2, you could just grind out to get 100 lives and then it's like anybody could do it. It doesn't feel the same. I know you can just set your lives to 3, but when the game forces you to practice and improve, I just much prefer that.
Yeah, the option's like literally right there, so everybody's just gonna go like 99, please.
That's true, but I also feel like, you know, you like even though you can run it with base 3. I kind of like it how that game almost gives you more leeway as you get better because you know you're not gonna. It takes a lot of time to grind to 99 lives. You have to unlock all the mini games first, and then you have to spend I think 250 play points on each life. Like by the time you have 99 lives, you've played that game so much that I almost like, you know, I kind of like it that way. You know, I kind of find it as like rewarding you with like kind of like a scalable difficulty. You know.
I guess. I know Monkey Ball 1 just makes up for it by having infinite continues and the practice mode, which is kind of like a way to get around it. But
Whenever I kind of think about it, like, I think like especially with the lives, Monkey Ball 2 has much more of like a flow to it's different. It kind of, I don't know, stuff like the limited lives and how you play the levels and stuff, it fits much better for SMB 1, but I like what SMB 2 does just because it's kind of different.
yeah, Monkey Ball 2 very much went for like the experimental kind of wacky stages. So even though there's some stages that are like completely unfair, you also have a lot more leeway, which makes it.
It would definitely.
Yeah, that's what I kind of mean. Is like SMB 1's more precise, arcadey kind of style, kind of stages and stuff.
It feels to me like a lot of Monkey Ball 2 flaws were just like they came up with these were like ideas they might have had for Monkey Ball 1 but couldn't do because of limitations of the Naomi engine or whatever.
Yeah.
Just stuff like, here's long tours. It's like, oh, nice, thank you.
Yeah, so you end up with like heaps of massive flaws and then flaws with all sorts of moving parts. And I personally much prefer Monkey Ball 1 flaw design and its simplicity. Like, it's never really a puzzle of what you have to do. It's just, there's the obstacle. The only challenge is actually getting around it.
I kind of like the idea of like having the stage where it is kind of like a puzzle where you don't know what to do, you know, because
Like Switch Inferno.
that's not okay.
It's iconic.
I could talk about Dodge Master, okay? We can go below the belt
Dodge
here.
Master.
Well, yeah, we need to talk about that later because that's where all the hate in my heart is stored. And we can't do that immediately.
Yeah, I should say that's all later.
We gotta get through all the regular levels first.
I don't know, I very much prefer the Monkey Ball 1 level design of just like, here's a basic obstacle and do it. Like, there's not really like that much of a puzzle to it. It's like literally just get good and figure it out.
It's very
Yeah,
interesting.
I agree.
'Cause It's interesting because like if you think about it, like pretty much every expert level in Monkey Ball 1 is 30 seconds. While in Monkey Ball 2, there's only 2 levels that are 30 seconds in the entire game.
And one of them is actual garbage.
And then
Melting
there's a game
pot
like Deluxe,
is-
so they just give you chaos. It's like, thank you for wasting my time.
Chaos is...
God, the deluxe exclusives. Oh, I don't think there's
I
even a
think
single
there-
one of them that
There
I
is
like.
one that I
like
like,
a
and that's
couple.
the last advanced one where like it has a warp goal and it's the goal and the warp are spinning.
Spatio-temporal.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. That being said, that is one of the only ones that I think are good from Deluxe.
Excited for the Deluxe level tier list coming soon.
I was gonna say, like, if the deluxe stages are indicative of what we would have gotten in a potential Banana Crazy.
It would have been the
Oof.
weakest one
That
by
game
far.
sucked.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I don't like about a lot of the deluxe levels is like the safety nets they have, like on Serpentine or, you know, like if you fall off the floor, you don't die. You just fall into a pit and then have to roll into the goal. It's not a challenge at all. It's clear that the flaws weren't meant to be in beginner. They just stuck them in there and edited them to make them easier or whatever.
That's true. Or it could have been like, here's a story mode stage for story mode, and it's like for into challenge mode. It's like, oh, Deluxe, we need 300 stages.
Well, that's one of the things that annoys me most about the deluxe exclusives.
Yeah.
Which, if it was a third game, it probably wouldn't have been there. But still, the level design is questionable.
I do
Unlike Monkey
think,
Ball 1.
But yeah.
Going back to SMB1, the stage design is much more consistent. That being said, the reason I like 2, and I mentioned this last podcast, is just because like the stages are a lot more interesting. They have like a lot more fun with the stage design, where it's just like SMB1's just like, great, here's a wire, here's a 0.2 wire. Navigate this for 30 seconds, please, you know?
I feel like it's not that common. Like, I don't know. Like, Monkey Ball 1 stages are technically more boring, but I feel like it's a lot more rewarding to come back to doing challenge mode. Like, I have a lot more fun when I play Monkey Ball 1 challenge mode these days than when I do Monkey Ball 2.
I think they're a lot more fun, a lot more challenging, and a lot more fun from like a high score perspective as well. Because Monkey Ball 2 walls are the absolute worst for that.
That's true.
Like a lot of Monkey Ball 1 stages, it feels like you really have to like grind and get good at. Monkey Ball 2, it's like just some garbage that they came up with and threw in there.
Monkey Ball
Like
1
here's
is
conveyors,
better
a level of
because-
conveyor belts. It's also the only level of conveyor belts. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
why didn't you use it more?
Monkey Ball 1's better because in practice mode, it records your best score of the session.
True, that is a good
Ooh.
feature.
I'm surprised they removed that.
You also have the competition mode, which never came back, and honestly, I don't miss it. But you know,
like
I have a
competition
question
mode.
actually. Is competition mode in Deluxe only Monkey Ball 1 flaws?
Yeah.
Yes.
it's
Okay.
just SMB one.
They literally just directly copy and pasted the code, probably.
I have
Yeah,
a
I seem
feeling.
to think that was the case, but I couldn't remember, and I only have one Xbox controller, so I couldn't even check.
I'm scared to think of how that runs on PS2, actually.
I have a feeling that they didn't do it with SMB2 stages because they couldn't get it to work. Just because the stages in in that game, you know, can be really wacky. You know,
They
with-
got switches in there.
That's
well,
fair,
not only
but,
do they
like,
have switches, but they also have like you'd also have to run 4 simultaneous instances potentially up for GameCube, or at the very least 2.
Yeah.
And you can tell.
I mean,
like,
the PS2 is like on life support running Deluxe as is. Like, there's no way it could deal with doing Monkey Ball 2 flaws in competition mode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nah.
even
I
like
mean, that
Xbox.
game is visually 30 FPS.
Yeah.
The Monkey Ball Deluxe should not be on that platform. I'm really surprised that they went forward with the port, even with the hardware.
They probably
was
just
on.
spent like 5 cents on that port. 'Cause I feel like the PS2 could run it. They just didn't care as much.
It's great because I can keep making Sonic and Monkey Ball comparisons. Both franchises have terrible PS2 ports.
Yeah. I don't know. The thing about Monkey Ball 2 is that you can't enjoy the fun of having a 4-player competition mode Dodge Master match. That is
Oh,
something
God.
you know, we do in Monkey Ball 1. That is a unique joy.
I'm sad that you can't do the entire game in competition mode for a best of 109 or whatever.
Yeah. I
It
think
seemed
one
weirdly
negative about Monkey Ball
limited.
1 I'm gonna bring up actually is the fact that Master isn't like an unlockable difficulty after you unlock it once. I feel like it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Like, obviously you can play it in practice mode, but it just kind of sucks. It's like you put in all that work to get the Master, and it just basically acts as like an extra.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean, because like in Monkey Ball 2, actually getting to see the icon for the first time after you've like gotten through it, it feels very rewarding.
Yeah,
It's like a badge of honor.
it's true. I guess another thing I hate about 2, I guess since we're already talking about this, is that I don't like how 2 doesn't have like unique backgrounds for Master either. It just uses Baboon's base. It's like, thank you guys, you just use the story mode background again, cool. Like in Monkey Ball 1, I liked the variety of backgrounds because it gave you like a sense of progression as you went on. Like, oh, when you did beginner, you know, you made the like jungle island, and then and like water, and obviously when you get to expert, you can get to like Arctic for the first time. I think it's kind of cool having that sense of like discovery with the new areas. I always thought that was neat when I was a kid.
It's interesting because there's probably people out there who don't even know that there's a master in Monkey Ball 1.
Yeah, but like when you play Monkey Ball 2, it's like I made it to Baboon's base again. Wow, I haven't seen this before. You know? It's not as cool.
I would posit that Monkey Ball 1's master stages are not very good. And again, I know we're retreading old ground here, but yeah, a lot of the stage designs just seem kind of questionable, you know.
Do I have
Again,
to unleash the hate in my heart today? Are we going
Yes,
for that?
yes, I'll set. I will let you off the leash. Go ahead.
Alright, so like Master's pretty good, and then you get like Stamina Master, which is kind of jank, but like, okay, then you could do a skip, it's pretty good. Then there's, you know, Spring Master, that one's pretty good. That one's good. And then you get to Dance Master, and it's like, oh, cool. This sucks. What am I doing? This is horrible. And then you find out, oh, there's a safe spot there. Okay, this is easy. Then you get to Roll Master and Edge Master, which are exquisite. They are peak. And then you get to Dodge Master, and then all 6 of your lives are gone, and you just use to continue. Because guess what? What if we just threw a bunch of random moving crazy like pillars and killed you 50 times? Because we said, today I feel like being mean. And then after that, you gotta do Bridge Master, which I'm okay at, so it's fine. But like, if you're not okay at it, that's just more salt in the wound.
But Doro, they color-coded the poles on Dodge Master. It means you can memorize it. It's fair.
Yeah. It's super fair. when I don't remember what time I'm supposed to escape the containment from, and then get smacked around, and then maybe hope I get sent to the goal.
Dodge Master is about the same level of fairness as Switch Inferno. IMO.
I'd say Switch Inferno is more fair because you can at least recover from a failure.
I feel like Monkey Ball 1 Master does kind of fall into the Monkey Ball 2 philosophy of like, just memorize it, and that's the whole stage. Like, Dance Master is literally just memorization of like what path to go on, and then you're good. I feel like a lot of it isn't made at skill based.
I don't think Switch Inferno is really comparable to M8.
Switch
Like M8, you
Inferno
can
is-
figure out from View Stage. You know,
I would
that's the
argue-
reason
Same
View
you
Stage
can
was
with
added.
Same can with the
Admittedly,
Switch
having to do that isn't very fun, but you know, you can't do it on Switch Inferno. You do just have to guess,
You
and then once
can.
you've beaten it once, then that's it. You know how to do it. Or if you're on Deluxe, you just go through the side of the goal.
Yeah.
Yippee.
Well, I think
I mean, there is a trick to Switch Inferno, but I doubt that a lot of people notice it.
well,
And you
yeah,
have to die to, or at least get hit once to even have a chance of noticing the trick.
It's a very much a we designed this for story mode and not challenge mode.
You have to
I don't
burn
even
the
think-
challenge mode. Let's go.
I was saying, I
Look
think
around.
I think whoever designed Switch Inferno, like, I wonder if it was even meant to make it into the full game. To be honest, I forget who mentioned this in a previous podcast, but like, it almost feels like a beta stage, you know, just like testing switches or something, where you know, multiple switches will have the same effects. It's the only stage I can think of.
Yeah, you're right. I'm trying to think of it, and I can't think of another stage that does that. Like, it would be a useful stage if, like, there were at least, like, maybe 2 or 3 other ones that had a similar mechanic, but... Yeah.
See how
Other-
quickly we divert from the topic of SMB1.
Hey, other things
Oh,
SMB1
my
did
bad.
better. Other things it did better than SMB2, the staff game and the name entry screen.
I agree. Name entry is kind of debatable, but staff game is way better.
I would
Kind
agree.
of fun.
I would agree that name entry is better. I don't think anyone likes rotating through that wheel.
It's at least novel.
You know, it's at least cute. It's fun. I like it. I don't know. Staff minigame, I feel about the same. You know, I think SMB1 and SMB2 are kind of they're completely different games. So
I think 2 was boring, personally, but
I like SMB2's credit game, but
it's just a better version of the Banana Blitz one, to be honest.
I'm kind of curious, actually. Which was the first Monkey Ball game everybody here played?
I have
I
Yeah.
played Junior first,
Okay.
so yeah.
SMB2 for me.
Two.
Yeah, SMB2 for me.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the time, people who played SMB1 first and grew up with SMB1 prefer SMB1 and vice versa. Because I grew up with SMB1. I didn't even know Monkey Ball 2 existed until about 10 years ago.
I had both of them, but
That...
I played Junior, then 1, then Touch and Roll, then 2, I believe, in that order.
my
The last
history is
2 are debatable.
interesting. Where I had an action replay for the GameCube, and I think for some reason the action replay would have ended up corrupting my Monkey Ball 2 disc, so it didn't work anymore. Then then it happened 2 more times, but my Monkey Ball 1 disc never got corrupted,
Let's go.
so we're good.
I also kind of feel though that Monkey Ball 2 is much more beginner friendly because as many people did, you know, start with SMB1 and liked it, I feel like there were just as many, if not more people that just like stopped at, you know, halfway through Advanced or whatever, just like, wow, this game's too hard, and then they didn't play the rest of the series. I don't know.
I do prefer 2 as like a beginning recommendation. I usually recommend 2 first before 1, just because I want people to actually play the game.
Yeah, like I feel like we've talked about that before though, like about how like when people like whichever one they grew up on, like SMB 1 or 2, probably forms like how that person feels about like Monkey Ball stages and playing the game and stuff. Cause like yeah, I grew up with SMB 2 and I kind of prefer like the SMB 2 level design and the like kind of philosophy a little more. But, like, that's just because, like, whenever I went back to SMB1 after playing 2, like, I kind of it was way harder. It was just like much more precise, and it was a much different style from SMB2, I guess.
Yeah.
It
I definitely
was-
didn't learn to appreciate 1 until like kind of recently, once I actually started getting good.
I remember getting SMB1 in 2016, back when you could actually buy GameCube games. And, you know, I liked SMB2 when I saw SMB1 on GameStop for $8, and I was like, alright, you know, I liked SMB2, let's try SMB1. And then I played SMB1, and, you know, I was struggling to get through Advanced. And I played through Story Mode in 2 and gone through Expert. And I remember initially thinking, wow, this game is really hard. And then I put it down for another few years, funny enough. So
Yeah, this is the part where we have to say who here can clear Monkey Ball 1 Expert through Master without continues.
I have.
I've done it without dying
Yeah.
once.
I probably can do it, I just haven't gotten on my way to do it.
Arlie, I have not done it with. I've reached Master. I have not completed Master without a continue, I will say.
I
did
use a
it
cheat to get the
earlier
master because I'm
today.
a dummy.
I could, you know, get Master, you know, without a continue, but do I value my time? Yes. So will I do it? No.
I had a lot of fun going for a deathless run. And
I'm
now
not gonna have
every
fun.
time I play the game, it says 9999 play points, so everybody knows.
Let's go.
I could totally do that if I, you know, just sat down and was like, okay, how do I do Dodge Master? And that's
I think I use like a hold up strat on that. There's a pretty
there is a pause
consistent hold
strat,
up
but
strat.
I don't know what it is.
No, not a pause strat, just a hold up strat.
Oh.
Like there's quite a big window.
I'll have to find out one day.
Yeah, there is a trick to that one. I remember I had a few attempts to get to master, but I had 2 die on M10, which was like heartbreaking. I didn't have any die on M9, which I was quite pleased with. I think I had 1 die on M5 and maybe a couple on M3. Yeah. I don't think M8 was one of them.
One day.
You know you're a certified Monkey Ball 1 player when you don't use the level names.
That's true.
I hate the deluxe level names. I mean, for one, I don't know most of them, but
Yeah, me neither.
they just seem like I refuse to believe the same person that came up with the name Cassiopeia couldn't think of a better name than like Spiral.
Spiral Hard. It's a great name.
Spiral Hard, yeah, or
I like-
Floor Bend.
It feels like it was a
Hey,
dev
let's
name.
go.
It feels like the dev names, you know, that they used internally.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I love how they even took names from Monkey Ball 2, so they had to rename Monkey Ball 2 stages.
Yeah. It's like, okay, cool guys, you did it.
And some of them don't
God,
even
and then
make
there's the thing with
sense.
Tub and Bowl as well.
Yeah, Tub and Rising Inclines and Bowl.
I mentioned this before. It always struck me as odd how how Labyrinth from SMB1 got its name and took it from SMB2, because it's not even a labyrinth. Because like a labyrinth is a maze, and Labyrinth in SMB1 is not a maze. It's just a straight path.
It's kind of funny.
And
Could've
puzzle
called it-
isn't a puzzle. It's just
Yeah.
a square spiral. The 2 of them. That was probably one of the worst flaws in Monkey Ball 1. I really don't like that one.
I really don't like that one. I don't even know how you're like supposed to beat it. Like I don't know if you're supposed to use cheats to beat
You
it.
have to skip it to win it, that's why it's a puzzle.
Maybe, but like I don't know if that was the intent.
That's a very generous interpretation of that
path of
name.
success though. It's a thing. I guess we'll never know. Unless we interviewed a developer from like 20 years ago, like
I interviewed hey, why'd you almost name this stage Penetration instead of Passage? What's up with that?
What are you doing here? Get out of my house.
Tell me the lore of Exam C.
I just have one question. Why?
I will
That'd
say
be
it's
mine.
very funny how the AV logo stage is way easier than the Banana Mania stage. It's very
Yeah.
funny.
I mean, that's pretty much
Yeah.
every stage description in Banana Mania is, wow, this is way easier than in Banana Mania. So,
I'll tell you one that isn't easier. Bloody air hockey. Why
Oh,
is the
yeah.
goal turned 90 degrees?
I hate that. I hate air hockey so much.
And then in original stage mode, the floor's back to its normal speed, but the goal is still sideways.
I literally had to make a pause frame for that because I was so annoyed by
Yeah,
it.
that was the one of the most frustrating experiences I've had playing any Monkey Ball game, trying to beat that.
Fun fact about Banana Mania, the Switch and the PS5 version have different pause frames. It's pretty cool. I discovered that on my own, so that's cool.
Oh no, I guess to wrap up the stage discussion, I will resort to what I said last time, where it's like SMB1 is much more consistent. SMB2 has a lot higher highs, but also has much lower lows than SMB1, so I guess it just is which one you prefer, you know?
Yeah.
SB2 doesn't have higher highs. There's no Monkey Ball 2 floor better than E9.
Yeah, sure.
Listen, exactly. Listen, the highest highs involve anything to do with Burger Cube.
The lack of Burger Cube is why Monkey Ball 2 is worse. I'm glad we came to a consensus.
Wow.
But Monkey Ball 1 doesn't have Space Colony. Come on. It's got like a beta version.
I kind of prefer SMB1 Space World theme, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I do too. Because the problem with Monkey Ball 2 is that they literally just ripped them from story mode. Just like, aw, you know?
The
it's like,
space
doesn't
music in Monkey Ball 1 is the
Coolest.
best song in video games. It's true. Look
I
it
won't go
up.
as far as to say that, but it's probably my favourite from the game.
Oh, wait, no, it's definitely
Yeah.
very good, and it was very heartbreaking when they just didn't put it in deluxe for.
I know! How?
If
I
you
think
want to
it's
go
funny
by,
because there's
Everyone
always like
says-
insane conspiracy theories
Yeah.
as to why it wasn't. Like, oh, disc space, so licensing, but like it's on the PS2 disc.
yeah, it's
There's
on the
no-
disc. It's right there.
So like, I give
It's
up.
not-
I don't
honestly.
get why,
Copyright
because like
issues. Okay.
that's
I'm
the
guaranteeing you-
rumor. That's the rumor is licensing issues or whatever. But that's the only thing I can plausibly think of. That'd be why.
I think it was just the game
I'm
was
convinced
rushed.
that I'm convinced the developer just accidentally linked the wrong track on that stage. I'm pretty convinced that that's what happened.
No,
It
because
wasn't, like,
because the
intentional.
Ice World doesn't have the track either. It has the Sky High theme, so or whatever it's called. You know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
anymore?
I think Deluxe really did Monkey Ball 1 dirty. They messed up a lot with that game and the floors in particular.
Yeah.
When you
it's
spin
kinda
the stage in, the stage keeps moving, so all the cycles are messed up.
Yeah, all the cycles are messed up, except like M1 is the same, and
true.
what
All of, like, the
EX1.
level effects are gone too. So it's kind of annoying.
I think Monkey Ball 1 floors just play quite badly as well with Monkey Ball 2 camera and physics. Like we already mentioned Mixer earlier, how it's just easy in Deluxe, and that's because of Monkey Ball 2 physics have no, they don't add extra friction.
Oh yeah, that's
Very-
right. The camera's also like lower in Monkey Ball 1.
Yeah.
I kind of
Just 'cause
prefer
4x3 is my reasoning why. I'm pretty sure that's why.
What's the reason, sorry?
Oh, the fact that Monkey Ball 2 is in 60x9. I don't know if that's the actual reason, but
I would guess maybe they changed it because there's more falling floors in Monkey
that's
Ball
true.
2.
That would make a lot
Because
You
Monkey
also-
Ball 2 camera is better for Monkey Ball 2 floors.
Yeah. Has anyone like modded Monkey Ball 2 and the Monkey Ball 1 yet?
Actually, yes, they technically have Ninja. There's an
scary.
arcade. There's an arcade remake in SMB2.
No, that's not what it was. I mean, technically, someone I think it was Spitz. That's their username. Made
Yeah.
the version of Monkey Ball 2 stages where they were like in Monkey Ball 1, and it is the best ROM hack.
Yeah, it's called SMB1 style, I think.
And you should
It
play
it's just like a re-texture, re-world, remove starting platforms. I mean, there's other like minor changes here and there to make it more like SMB1. But it's a
the
pretty
best
cool
one.
project.
So cool.
I forgot what I was originally going to say about SMB. I don't even remember.
You're gonna say that Monkey Ball 1 is better pulse ratio? Is that what you're
No.
gonna say?
Well, anyway, I guess that will close out our stages section. I like how I put in parentheses. This will be a brief segment since it is tied into the last episode. That was wrong, but
I mean, I feel like we kind of already went over the like and dislikes too. So.
yeah. Although I will say,
Actually,
one thing
hold on. Can I bring something up? You can cut this out if you want. I was
Yeah.
watching the previous episode. Kardino, did you say conical slider is one of your favourite floors from Monkey Ball 2?
I think it's one of the coolest ones.
Believing us in.
I think conical slider is possibly the worst floor in the entire game.
I'm excited
Really?
for the tier list when we all come together with this.
I mean,
I'm
the
not a fan
concept,
of
the concept is fine, but the fact that you can go all the way down, go through the warp, and then not clip off
Oh,
of
yeah.
like the
I thought
border
that
and just
was-
die, it's just horrible game
I
design.
have not.
I
had
don't
that
know
happen
how
to
it
me,
made it into the
so-
final game when you could just die when it's completely out of your control.
I have
It's
not had
egregious.
that happen to me, so I guess I'm gonna assume you're lying and.
Yeah, stay
you know.
sneak peek with the tier list episode. We all have to argue for why that it should be in a certain tier and have to come to a collective agreement.
I would argue a stage like coin slots annoys me more just because just waste your time.
Yeah, coin slots is a lot worse. than
Oh, there's
stage.
so many Monkey Ball 2 flaws that do my head in.
Yeah.
Dizzy systems, synchronized, coin slots, train worm. It
think
feels
that's
like you
the
just
best.
faff about until you end up going in the goal. And
I
like,
think
oh,
Train War
okay.
might be my least favorite if I really think about it.
I actually like Dizzy System.
It's funny in a funny way.
Funny and yeah, it's not. Funny in a good
It's
way,
funny in an
unfortunately.
unfunny way. I think what SMB1 did well though is something. It ties back to the difficulty. Is the Storm World is probably my favorite just because of how much tension it adds. Because you're almost to the end. Like I remember my first time playing Expert, and then that guitar, that electric guitar, and kicks in with the guitar with the Storm theme, and it just feels very
Yeah.
climactic,
I do like the raininess of it.
Yeah, and
The
how like there's
guitar.
puddles on the floor.
The ambience
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
I think there's only a couple of worlds that have ambience. Storm is one of them.
Yeah, but like the electric guitar, the spikes, the goth post, the
like, the
rain,
flames
it's
and
such
whatnot.
a good yeah, it's just such a good kind of last kind of zone kind of thing.
It's my favorite stage theme in SMB1. It stands among the best in SMB2. So,
Yeah.
because I do think SMB1 has a lot more like generic level themes that I'm not as much of a fan of. But
True.
It's the first game, so I don't blame it.
So just go rant about Monkey Target for 5 minutes.
I'm gonna go on to talk about how the game separated it between party games and mini games,
That was dumb. That's very.
and
dumb.
I think it's
funny.
because the mini games are all about using power bars to win and pressing A at the right time.
Billiards is a good game.
Yeah.
I think the main separation is how you have to unlock the mini games, I believe, right?
Yeah, you
The
gotta
mini
use
games
play
you have to
Yeah.
unlock, right? Yeah, it's the unlockables versus the unlockables, or the whatever. You get what I'm saying. Words are hard.
Yeah.
But I will say that SMB1's mini games are there. I pretty much never play them.
I think Monkey Race is trash. I think that's something we need to come to agreement on.
The Monkey Race tracks for Monkey Ball 1 are not that good, but the song is a banger.
That's true.
Yeah. In most cases, I would probably rather play the mini games on SMB2.
Yeah.
Yeah, SMB1 Target is overrated in my opinion.
I like the Wheel of Danger. It's fun.
That's a dumb mechanic. I never want to see it again.
So we were talking about playing SMB2 and then SMB1. That was the weirdest thing playing is when you play SMB2 Target and you go back to 1 and you see stuff like the Wheel of Danger and the weird level designs.
the weird items that I don't understand why they're like that.
Yeah.
Oh, at the part where the target is 2 pixels big and they expect you to land on there at full speed. It's pretty cool.
I
Yeah,
have
well,
yet
that
to
one,
figure
that's
out
really good.
how the item system in 1 works. Because, it's do you want to use an item? And I was like, I assume if I say no, then I get a better item next round. But not always. Is it based on bananas? Is that what I need to get? Is it,
Oh, you
Like-
know. Here, hold on. I'm playing that right now. We're gonna find out.
I do respect Monkey Ball Engage for perfectly capturing the monkey target experience.
That is one thing. That is a segment we should do now, I guess, is the D-makes, the GBA and N-Gage D-makes, and technically the J-Phone D-make, but
Junior's very interesting because they chose some real interesting music for some of those stages. Oh yeah, the Storm theme, most notably with the lovely noises of the Sky Temple music.
Yeah. That was a decision. At least Storm was used for Master, which I think is pretty cool. So
I have a fun fact. It's to go along with that trend of everybody going, oh, what's a useless video game fact you know? For Monkey Ball Jr., if you turn off all sound, the game runs faster.
really?
Yes.
That's amazing.
I'm going to complain about this. If you look at the speedrun.com leaderboard, playing with the sound off is its own separate category.
Oh, who discovered that? Who was like, why?
Is
Like some random guy just went and beat all the records because you're playing with the sound and music turned off. It's also faster if you play in blocky mode, but I think that's against the rules.
That's funny.
Oh, and
You
by the way,
sound off
monkey
blocky
target
mode?
update, yes, it is the bananas that determine what item you get.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Oh, if we're talking about the D-Mix, what about the classic Monkey Ball, the Flash version?
That's a great version. I actually like that a lot.
That
used
is-
to
I
as a
also
kid.
like that a lot. You have some great takes on these games, Ninja.
Sorry, I'm too based for this podcast.
I don't know. I think it's the Flash game is, in my
It's very
opinion.
hard.
I like the first one. The second one's kind of forgettable.
It's
The
way
first one's
well.
at
Yeah,
least
I'll
fun.
agree. That's not like
Yeah.
It's like here's monkey target. We just move left and right. Have fun. It's like cool. We just never play this ever again.
I think I like SMB2 more because like I can actually play it. SMB1 mini is
That is a certified skill issue.
Certified ridiculously hard.
it's certified. I'm not going to adjust the sensitivity of my mouse to play freaking Monkey Flash. You know.
I was playing that at like 3600 DPI.
Hard mode.
I always just use the yellow box because it was like a dead zone. Just keep myself from dying in that game.
I had a lot of fun playing the Flash game actually.
Yeah.
I remember one afternoon, like me and a mate were just doing like speedrun races with each other, and it was like, really quite fun. And we ended up getting,
my
like,
art class, and I
better
was
than we
like, I did
should've
my
been.
assignment, so let me just play Monkey Ball Flash for the rest of my class period.
There's a game I used to play in my computer science classes called Neverball. I used to
have
bring
heard
on a
it.
memory
I've
stick
heard that.
It's
and just play it during the lesson.
Neverball's a content for another day, but I have
Yeah.
words to say about that one at some point.
Fair.
I don't know. It's
I guess the only thing I've left to say about Monkey Ball 1 is that shiny floors were based. I'm glad they're back in Banana Mania. It's one of the only things that game did right, Smiley.
I don't know.
Shiny
I
floors
think
are
I will say I think Junior gets an easy ride because it is so technically impressive. It's like, yeah, that's true, but like, is it like I do not think Junior holds up very well at all, really. Like,
I think
honestly.
Junior's fun.
You have
mean,
to
I
it's
do.
also
I think it's tons of
Junior.
fun. It's not like we're talking about Jurassic Park Trespasser here, which is just complete broken garbage. Everyone's like, well, it's an impressive tech demo for the time. You know, Half-Life 2 was inspired by this? Oh, not Half-Life 2, the original Half-Life.
Was it?
Something like that.
You're like inspired to make a game that didn't suck. I agree.
You gotta be a real legend to get to Expert Extra in Junior, though.
I've done
I
it
did
once,
it.
I think.
As
I
a
did it.
kid, I didn't even know that the A and B buttons change your tilt level, so I couldn't
No
get
one
past
knew that.
advanced
Yeah,
iron.
nobody knew.
It's like no one read the instruction manual.
No, I
What?
threw them away with the box.
I am glad to have a box. copy
Wow!
of Junior, that's pretty
Imagine
cool.
throwing them away with imagine throwing away a box.
I can't believe I was a dumb child when I was a dumb child.
Yeah. I don't know. The one thing I lack is the Junior poster. That is the one thing I lack.
No, one thing, I had a friend growing up that used to get rid of all of his boxes and just put all his discs in like one of those cases,
DVD
or,
sleeves.
DVD sleeves. And
Ooh.
even as a kid, that hurt me. You know?
I refused the DVD sleeves. I only did the Game Boy boxes. Like that was the only thing I threw away, but I still regret it.
Yeah. Well, now that we have thoroughly diverted from the main topic,
As per usual.
yeah, that's how we know we're about
Real
done.
EiEi Podcast now.
Exactly. So, yeah, in conclusion, Monkey Ball 1 is a bad game.
What?
You know, and
we hate Monkey Ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyone have any last words?
Exam C is the best stage in the series.
That's kind of debatable. You could actually argue that.
SMB, I find it funny how Exam B is actually the easiest exam stage.
Yeah. I guess.
It is, because like it's so easily cheese. Like, first time you do it, like, oh wait a second, I can just drop down onto the goal platform. You could
I
do
like
it the
cheese.
intended way, but
Sliced cheese is my favorite level from Monkey Ball 2.
I don't like
That's my final
sliced
comment.
cheese.
Why is Monkey target 10 rounds in this game? That's absurd. I hate Monkey Ball 1 now, actually.
the
Have you not set it
transformation.
to 5 or 15?
You could set it to 15.
You get a 15?
I think so.
Absurd.
You know,
Monkey Ball 2
the-
only
the-
goes up to 6.
The high score record in Monkey Target was beaten this year, and it was set like in 2002, like the previous one.
Jeez,
I think
that's-
that for 5 rounds, it was like 7,000 by some guy called IDMA.
I'm surprised it wasn't a Pack Attack classic.
Oh well, there's a lot that can be said about Pack Attack's history with Monkey Ball.
I think the one thing we neglected to talk about was Bridge Master, honestly.
No, I said that it was a salt in the wound.
That's true.
I think it's a great flaw.
All I know is that if
Yeah.
Jeff was here, he would say it's the worst floor in the game, and he hates it because it requires precision in a game based on precision.
Jeff has very.
I mean, it's a
interesting
bad
takes.
flaw in Deluxe because Xbox dead zones.
Yeah. I do think it's actually easier in the first game because you can cheese it easier.
I will say, has everyone here? I assume we are among the elites here. Pushes glasses up nose. I assume all of us have been Bridge Master the intended way.
Of course,
I
I
have.
did it earlier today when I did the master.
I have it on video with hand cam for Max.
I've never done it.
It's easier for me to do it the normal way.
Yeah.
You
Well-
know, it is easier the normal way. Unless you're like spamming pauses, it's easier the normal
No,
way.
I have not. I have
I've
not.
done it
I
both
did it
ways.
pauseless.
That first corner for the first clip that you have to do can just send you anywhere at once, basically.
Yeah.
It's very annoying. I think in terms of getting the clips, it's more lenient in Deluxe, but it's just harder to stay on the floor because Xbox controller.
Yeah. I guess, is that the end of this EE podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. We forgot the best thing that Monkey Ball 1 added.
Shit.
What's
Gone,
that?
gone.
Gone.
Oh yeah, how do we? Oh my god.
This
Ninja,
episode
when he
is
realizes
dedicated
he
to
failed in his
Gone.
career.
The Gone fans are gonna be pissed.
I was
Uh-oh.
gonna mention that they treat him so dirty and when you
Do
beat
a Gone
Master,
mention,
but
Pat?
I forgot.
Yeah,
Yo, should
because
we talk
that's
about the lore, the Gone lore of Monkey Ball 1?
That he's
Yeah,
not allowed to eat
but-
delicious bananas with his pals that he doesn't like at the point in time.
Yeah.
that is
It's
very
like Gungan's
funny.
just like a villain character, but only in the manual.
Yeah, he's like a war criminal or something.
And he's a pirate.
Is that true?
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
pirate. I do know that.
I'm sure I read something like this on the archives of the SEGA website.
I know he's a
That was
pirate.
second moment.
It is possible
Gone
that
is a war
that's a
criminal.
translation error because I do remember that he's a pirate canonically. He was a pirate, I should say. I don't know. The timeline of SMU1 is very confusing because the fact that Baby is there means it is not the original time that this all happened. It is the second time this has happened. Because the first time Baby didn't exist yet.
Baby
So,
came back in time because he knew that his smaller character model made it so more people could get through Bridge Master.
All I know is that Monkey Ball Adventure completely makes it even worse. So
I don't know because it's the second time going through, which also means that that the balls that the monkeys are in are not the actual original balls. It's the balls baby brought from the future. So it's the fake ones that future EiEi made.
Oh yeah,
you've
their
lost me
original
here.
balls sucked. They couldn't beat
You don't know the
Exam
deep,
original balls.
extensive Monkey Ball Adventure lore?
I did watch your video when you were going over all the lore, and I was just like, I just rolled monkey and gold.
Just like play a cute monkey game, and it's just like this deep plot. It's like what?
I had to
These
include
are
it in
games
my
that don't
adventure
need a
video.
story. It's like Doom. I think the plot of Doom is just shoot the aliens. That's all you need.
That's Duke Nukem actually. It's Demon. Just kidding.
Oh, sorry, my mistake.
I knew I had to. No one. The story is so confusing. I knew I had to make a PowerPoint multimedia extravaganza to explain the story. So
I love PowerPoint.
I used to make
Yeah.
all my thumbnails in PowerPoint.
And I use PowerPoint. I've never made a thumbnail in PowerPoint, I don't think. I use Paint on that, but for actual video editing, then PowerPoint is my go-to.
Oh, I thought this is what the podcast is about.
I will talk highly of PowerPoint at any given
PowerPoint
opportunity.
is based. PowerPoint is.
It is. It's really great
Monkey Ball 4,
software.
The PowerPoint win.
So I guess with that being
Monkey Ball 1
said,
story.
that there is none.
Fair.
I like how we got like that random song in like the NTSC and like the non-Japanese versions where
Yeah.
instead of like the EiEi Poo or EiEi Poo as it is actually in that game, we just get like this weird like random song. I feel like it was just like in some demo music disc SEGA had lying around or whatever, because it's just like it doesn't really fit with the rest of the game, and then you just have like the sample, "Can you give me some?" or whatever,
Yeah.
Just like why?
I do have a Japanese copy of Monkey Ball 1, but it does not work. So.
We forgot
Rip.
the most important part. It was the best GameCube launch title.
That is true. I mean, what else was
Yeah.
there? Like Rogue Squadron 2. That's all I
Tony
can
Hawk
remember.
3, but that was the
That's
second
good.
best launch title.
Luigi's
fair.
Mansion,
That
often
game is
known
fun.
as the most
Oh,
okay
Luigi's
game.
Mansion. Plus, I get the hard version because I live in Europe.
The better version.
Man, yeah, you get the flipped version too. That's
It's like
based.
Skyward Sword, except cooler. Wait, no, it's Twilight Princess. That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, more often than not, getting European version of the game is just the same but 50 FPS.
Yeah, it's like, wow, cool, I got a downgraded version. Let's go.
Well, it depends what you care more about, because if it is 50 FPS, it's 576i instead of 480i. So it's
Oh.
better resolution,
That's interesting.
but worse frame rate, which unfortunately as a speedrunner, the frame rate's what's more important.
Unless you
So I'm
play
hearing
Mario
is-
Kart 64, then you can cheat, and it's encouraged.
Yeah, they convert the time somehow, don't they? So PAL is preferred because it's just like slow mode.
Interesting.
There are very few games I could think of where the PAL version is faster, or at least theoretically faster, and Monkey Ball 2 is one of them.
Wasn't that like a huge scare in like the Monkey Ball leaderboards when PAL was scared to be faster? And feel like no, my time.
It wasn't really a scare. I don't know, but I remember there being a lot of debate about it being split off
Yeah.
because we used to be on the same boards.
My final thought is that on Expert like 45, or no, Expert 35, Twist and Spin or Twister, depending on what challenge mode or story mode you're playing in Deluxe.
Yawn.
There's a
On
banana.
PAL, it's called Twister.
There's a banana under one of the platforms, so you can't get all bananas in it.
Yeah,
good.
I remember that. That stage is just okay. It's very boring.
That is my
Yeah,
parting
yeah.
thoughts about Monkey Ball 1. You can't get all the bananas, so what's the point?
True.
Can
The
you
Cranes
beat
of
SMB
Bandies.
1? Yeah, can you beat SMB 1 while touching all bananas? No, we'll answer in the first 5 minutes and then spend 40 more talking about it anyway. That is how all those. That's literally how all those challenge videos
That's
go.
literally
It's like,
just the EiEi Podcast as in described.
And one
That's
thing
nice.
Monkey Ball 1 did incredibly well was the high score system.
That's true.
Like, they did it so well that there's been like an active community since the game came out, basically, and it's still active now.
That's true, and like it makes you feel good getting a higher score because like you hear the score counting up.
Mm-hmm.
They took that away in 2. I also liked how like they have like the you can see like the bottom of the next floor, you know, when you get the goal.
Yeah.
That is true. There's a lot of little subtle details that are just missing in 2 due to technical limitations.
Why is
The
Shiny
goal
floors.
being backwards on extra 9.
Why
It's
is
good
Philosopher
detail.
Johnny once said that in Monkey Ball 2, if you saw a stage from below, it'd just be a square? Oh, if we're gonna talk about
True.
annoying things, in the goal in Cassiopeia is floating slightly above the platform.
Is it?
Yeah,
In
Well, one of the
SB1 or Deluxe?
in SMB1 and Deluxe.
I've never noticed that. It's funny.
That's funny. I think nobody knew what Cassiopeia even was.
That reminds me of the twin cross having the death plane like 5 feet below the goal, so you just die. You know, you make it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I remember you were. I remember that existed when I was watching Goober's old stunt montage video, and like he
Yeah.
had like a thing where like he died on the twin cross like because he hit the death plane or something. That was funny.
It wasn't even my first time seeing that. I'd seen it before in like a Twitch clip from Narcissa, I think. I was
I
like,
did
oh,
it
it happened
once.
to me. Cool.
That was a very fun video that you made, like watching it, looking back on those. That's funny.
And it's weird to think I've been making Monkey Ball videos for almost 10 years.
It's crazy.
I'm getting old now.
I guess, is there anything else?
This is potentially the loosest podcast we have ever
Yeah,
recorded.
because like we keep rambling. Like, oh wait, we forgot that.
So I guess we'll end this off by saying, yeah, SMB1 is a bad game, and we'll see you next time for episode 16, whatever that may be. Thank you to Goober for joining us, and thank you to Daro for coming back. You know, we thought we got the pest control, but I guess we didn't. So
I'm always here. You can't get rid of me.
This will be the last podcast of Dara.
I'm actually gonna be executed off stage.
See you next time. Bye.